Welcome to Crucifixable's Backyard. Okay, here we have some parts like the top cover of the spring. We have the vacuum piston, the carburetor body right there. We have the piston spring seat. Basically, it's just the inner workings of the carburetor, all dissected just to show you what I had to deal with the fuel leak that was on my 1986 Harley-Davidson Sportster XL, and basically just is rebuilding of a carburetor. I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, how's everybody doing? After the fuel leak, we found out that we had to rebuild the carburetor because the body of the carburetor had a crack. What you're seeing here now is the float bowl, the float chamber has to get custom fitted. It didn't match up to the actual new body piece that we got, so we had to cannibalize like maybe one or two other carburetors to come up with the pieces. And from what I'm seeing, is more or less trying to just fit another float bowl to the bottom of that one. I know you can see a bunch of parts that are laid out. Right there in this hand is the float bowl, like I said. Probably just trying to size up some, like the needles, make sure everything's clean on the inside. So originally, with all my posted videos of fuel leak, it started off from the fitting, the fuel actually elbow fitting that goes into the carburetor. There was a hairline crack. It was actually a little bigger than that on the top part of the actual carburetor itself. So after trying to fix it, putting a new fuel line on, new gaskets, checking the float, a fuel float, and reinstalling everything, it still didn't work. It still leaked everywhere. So we took it all apart again, figured out that it had a hairline crack on it. Like I said, we have to cannibalize about 2 or 3 other carburetors to rebuild this one. That's what you're watching more or less, is this video. Right there you can see the accelerator pump, which was that little piece that had to all get worked in. Just cannibalized it from the old one and put it into the new one. So that's exactly what's getting put in right now. It's a little piece the size of, like, you know, one of those finger condoms. So, and that's what you call the accelerator pump. That little piece right there has a spring that goes on top, and then you put the cover. Has 3 screws. So you would attach all that. So that's what you see going on right now. You can see the carburetor body on the blue rag. You also see like a pin, a couple of screws. I think that's a gasket too, down by the red handle pliers, if I'm not mistaken. The actual O-ring. Well, no, that's excuse me. That's the actual float bowl. I can see the gasket sitting on the inside of it. Underneath or right next to the float bowl is something called the vacuum piston, which goes in the top part of the carburetor, where there would be a spring and a piston spring seat, which looks like you know, a cross pitchfork that would slide in, and on top of that would be the top cover. There'll also be a jet needle that goes in there. So I have a couple videos to post up on Crucifiscal's backyard about the rebuilding of this carburetor. But like I said, for people who've been watching, that this was my original problem, was a little fuel leak that turned into a major rebuild. So pretty much fixed. It's sitting outside. I know after the rebuild it still had a leak behind it, and I'm waiting for a couple days so I can get another gasket. I believe that's what's wrong with the actual rebuild. We had a used gasket, just need a brand new gasket in there, and everything should be fine.